Hey, it's Jennifer McPeak, and I don't know how I feel about November.
Ooh, spooky keyboard noises, boo!
I'm not saying the entire month of November makes me feel like nebulous inside or anything. I actually kind of like November. It's generally cooler, at least in the mornings, so I can go for walks without dying of heat stroke. And there's Thanksgiving, which is food and fellowship, and that's always fun. And then there's NaNoWriMo. Most people in the writing community know what NaNoWriMo is, but for those who don't, here is a very brief breakdown. It's a 30-day writing challenge. Write 50,000 words between November 1st and November 30th. It amounts to roughly 1,667 words per day, and you're meant to write an original idea, however you interpret that. If you interpret original to be fanfics or an academic paper, then that's what you write. There are pep talks emailed throughout the month, and there's a forum where you can connect with other writers and talk about writing blogs and share character ideas and bounce things off of each other. And it's generally used as a source of community and sharing of ideas. Winning is effectively based on the honor system. Winners get bragging rights and various discounts from writing tool companies, as well as the knowledge that you did something that so many people talk about doing but never actually do: writing a novel. It's such a big thing in writing communities that it's even kind of spilled into October a bit. People will frantically prepare for November 1st in October by getting every planning thing that they can do so they are set come November 1st. That's actually called Preptober. There's also summer writing programs for younger writers, and that's National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo for short, in a nutshell. Anyway, back to my history with NaNoWriMo. I learned of it back in October of 2006. For those that like math, that's like 1,000 years ago. It was my senior year in high school. I had very little time to plan for it, but it was an idea that seemed right up my alley, and I really wanted to try it. Between my full-time after-school job and writing scholarship applications, which all had to be done at some point either in the middle of November or the beginning of December, writing 50,000 words of a brand new story just was not in the cards that year. But doing it at all, even though I didn't win per se, was a lot of fun. And I wanted to win the next one. So in 2007, I came back more prepared, a lot more prepared. And I won. And I came back year after year, win after win. Over the years, the vibe of NaNoWriMo as a website just kind of started to shift for me. It's nothing against the website itself, it's nothing against the program. It's just the way that I was perceiving things just kind of shifted into kind of a negative space, where I used to feel like the pep talk emails were meant to be inspiring and fun. They just kind of seemed like endless plugs for donations. So I had to unsubscribe. I wasn't really connecting with the forums anymore. Kind of felt like there was a lot of like infighting and gatekeeping and, the same stuff that happens in any set of chat rooms after a long enough period of time. But either way, I stopped using those too. I'd already done it for 6 years at that point. I was still on the Facebook page for my region, and though I wasn't able to make it to any of their in person write ins, I still got to have some kind of community with people that were actually in my area. I just basically used NaNoWriMo's website to update my word count, and that was really all I did for a long time. Then I stopped being interested in Preptober back around 2018, maybe 2019, which is also when I went into that really dark, it's not really worth it to write anymore kind of hole. But I still felt like I needed to come back and do the writing in November every year, even though I didn't feel like a writer anymore. Have you ever heard of the sunk cost fallacy? It's where you keep doing something even when it's not working out for you because you've sunk so many resources into it in the past. When you're forcing a project, it's not fun. I'd sit and write for what felt like ages. I'd feel like I made halfway decent progress, get a whole scene done and everything. And then I'd look at my word count and find out I barely cracked like 500 words. It was really disheartening and frustrating. And the last 3 years, I didn't even make it to 5,000 words total before I abandoned the project and that year's NaNoWriMo. But I'm enjoying writing again. And that's awesome. I love that I'm back. If I really buckle down, I might be able to have all of my rewrites on Slightly Supernatural done by November 1st. It isn't entirely
Inconceivable!
that I will be free come November to do a second book in the Slightly series or to do a completely unrelated project. But the big question is, will I be doing NaNoWriMo this year? I've done it every year, or at least I've tried to, for 17 years by now. I just turned 34. So if I do it this year, that makes 18 years of NaNoWriMo. 18 years. That's more years of my life than I haven't done it. That's half my life. But I have been thinking a lot about that sunk cost fallacy, and NaNoWriMo on the whole just hasn't been fun for me in a long time. I'm finally back to a place where I'm enjoying writing again. And I want to keep that going. NaNoWriMo's not meant to burn you out. It's not meant to make you hate writing. It's meant to give you a chance to do something. It's meant to be an opportunity for you to write and have fun. And it's not for everyone. I know how I am, and I know I see the challenge, and I want to achieve it at whatever cost, even if it's detrimental to my own mental well being. So, with that in mind, the answer, this was a yes no question from the get go, and it took me how long to get to this point to answer it? But basically, not really. I am going to write in November, and I think I might work on something new, like NaNoWriMo encourages, but I'm not going to use the website, and I'm not going to focus on word count. I probably won't get 50,000 words or even come close to it. But I am going to try to write every day, and I am going to do something. It just won't be through the lens of NaNoWriMo. So basically, I'm just going to keep writing and see how November works for me. And this is no hate to anybody that's doing NaNoWriMo this year. NaNoWriMo will always have a very special place in my heart. I learned a lot about who I am as a writer and what works for me as a writer during my years of doing NaNoWriMo. It introduced me to corners of the writing community that I never would have found otherwise, and it has put me in touch with people that I do still occasionally talk to. It is an incredibly useful tool, and it is a great program. They do a lot of good, and I fully believe that if you want to undertake this challenge, you should. If you've ever thought about writing a novel or writing anything, just take November and do NaNoWriMo. What have you got to lose? Uh-oh, my baby's awake. This isn't to say that I'm never going to do NaNoWriMo again. It still calls to me, and one day I might be in a place where I can answer it. For now, though, I'm going to focus on me and what I can create without the potential pressure of having to get to 50,000 words in 30 days. So how many of you guys are doing NaNoWriMo this year? Are you ready to go come November 1st? Or are you going to start writing at midnight November 1st with hopes and dreams? Or are you somewhere in the middle? As always, let me know what you're up to, what you're reading, what you're writing, what you got going on. I'd love to hear about how things are going. Follow me on Instagram at jmcpeakwright. Thanks for sticking around on this video. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Later.
Ooh, spooky keyboard noises, boo!